This is The Perks of Being a Wallflower, beginning on page 92. December 30th, 1991. Dear friend, the day after I wrote to you, I finished The Catcher in the Rye. I have read it 3 times since. I really didn't know what else to do. Sam and Patrick are finally coming home tonight, but I won't get to see them. Patrick is going to meet Brad somewhere. Sam is going to meet Craig. I'll see them both tomorrow at the Big Boy and then at Bob's New Year's Eve party. The exciting part is that I'm going to drive to the Big Boy by myself. My dad said I couldn't drive until the weather cleared up, and it finally did a little bit yesterday. I made a mixtape for the occasion. It is called The First Time I Drove. Maybe I'm being too sentimental, but I like to think that when I'm old, I will be able to look at all these tapes and remember those drives. The first time I drove alone was to see my Aunt Helen. It was the first time I ever went to see her without at least my mom. I made it a special time. I bought flowers with my Christmas money. I even made her a mixtape and left it at the grave. I hope you do not think that makes me weird. I told my Aunt Helen all about my life, about Sam and Patrick, about their friends, about my first New Year's Eve party tomorrow. I told her about how my brother would be playing his last football game of the season on New Year's Day. I told her about my brother leaving and how my mom cried. I told her about the books I read. I told her about the song Asleep. I told her when we all felt infinite. I told her about me getting my driver's license. How my mom drove us there, and how I drove us back, and how the policeman who ran the test didn't even look weird or have a funny name, which felt like a gift to me. I remember when I was just about to say goodbye to my Aunt Helen, I started crying. It was a real kind of crying too, not the panicky type, which I do a lot. And I made Aunt Helen a promise to only cry about important things because I would hate to think that crying as much as I do would make crying for Aunt Helen less than it is. Then I said goodbye and I drove home. I read the book again that night because I knew that if I didn't, I would probably start crying again, the panicky type I mean. I read until I was completely exhausted and had to go to sleep. In the morning, I finished the book and then started immediately reading it again, anything to not feel like crying, because I made the promise to Aunt Helen, and because I don't want to start thinking again, not like I have this last week. I can't think again, not ever again. I don't know if you've ever felt like that you wanted to sleep for 1,000 years, or just not exist, or just not be aware that you do exist, or something like that. I think wanting that is very morbid, but I want it when I get like this. That's why I'm trying not to think. I just want it all to stop spinning. If this gets any worse, I might have to go back to the doctor. It's getting that bad again. Love always, Charlie. January 1st, 1992. Dear friend, it's now 4 o'clock in the morning, which is the new year, even though it's still December 31st, that is, until people sleep. I can't sleep. Everyone else is either asleep or having sex. I've been watching cable television and eating Jell-O and seeing things move. I wanted to tell you about Sam and Patrick and Craig and Brad and Bob and everyone, but I can't remember right now. It's peaceful outside. I do know that, and I drove to the Big Boy earlier, and I saw Sam and Patrick, and they were with Brad and Craig, and it made me very sad because I wanted to be alone with them. This has never come up before. Things were worse an hour ago, and I was looking at this tree, but it was a dragon and then a tree, and I remembered that one nice, pretty weather day when I was part of the air, and I remembered that I mowed the lawn that day for my allowance, just like I shovel the driveway for my allowance now. So I started shoveling Bob's driveway, which is a strange thing to do at a New Year's Eve party, really. My cheeks were red cold, just like Mr. Z's drinking face, and his black shoes, and his voice saying when a caterpillar goes into a cocoon, it goes through torture, and how it takes 7 years to digest gum. And this one kid, Mark, at the party, who gave me this, came out of nowhere and looked at the sky and told me to see the stars. So I looked up, and we were in this giant dome like a glass snowball, and Mark said that the amazing white stars were really only holes in the black glass of the dome, and when you went to heaven, the glass broke away, and there was nothing but a whole sheet of star white, which is brighter than anything, but doesn't hurt your eyes. It was vast and open and thinly quiet, and I felt so small. Sometimes I look outside, and I think that a lot of other people have seen this snow before, just like I think that a lot of other people have read those books before and listened to those songs. I wonder how they feel tonight. I don't really know what I'm saying. I probably shouldn't write this down because I'm still seeing things move. I want them to stop moving, but they're not supposed to for another few hours. That's what Bob said before he went to his bedroom with Jill, a girl that I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is that this all feels very familiar, but it's not mine to be familiar about. I just know that another kid has felt this. This one time when it's peaceful outside and you're seeing things move and you don't want to, and everyone's asleep. And all the books you've read have been read by other people, and all the songs you've loved have been heard by other people, and that girl that's pretty to you is pretty to other people, and you know that if you looked at these facts when you were happy, you would feel great because you were describing unity. It's like when you are excited about a girl and you see a couple holding hands and you feel so happy for them, and other times you see the same couple and they make you so mad, and all you want is to feel always happy for them because you know that if you do, then it means that you're happy too. I just remembered what made me think of all this. I'm going to write it down because maybe if I do, I won't have to think about it and I won't get upset. But the thing is that I can hear Sam and Craig having sex, and for the first time in my life, I understand the end of that poem, and I never wanted to. You have to believe me. Love always, Charlie.